Lee, how did you forget to put yourself there? That's an anticlimax. That's what happens when I'm left here to deal with stuff on my own, isn't it? The guys will be joining me in a little bit. The Nick is coming to talk to us over in Rokfin. Dave is somewhere not assassinating people. I don't know. And until then, you've got the pleasure of my company. Ollie is taking a night off because he's a tired boy. We can do a little bit of housekeeping. You know, all the stuff about if you want to support the channel, you can go and do things over on Patreon. You can sign up to Patreon. You can become a channel member on YouTube. You can subscribe to us on Rokfin if you come over to Rokfin. Hope you're enjoying the Rokfin show. It's my favorite show of the week. So take that for what it is. How else can you support us? You can, if you're a creative type, like one of us fellow creators, and you can't do the stuff you want to do. Like, I mean, I always feel, especially coming in and doing this on my own, if I come in and after our intro, which I think is arguably the best intro of any of the UFO channels here. Yeah, I think it's right up there. And that's because there was a great guy that made the music for us. The link to his stuff is in the description. You can find it. It's just, I think the track's called Infraction. Oh, sorry, he's called Infraction. And the track is just sport rock epic. And we took a chunk out of that. But yeah, go if you want any royalty-free music, go and do his stuff. Just credit him in the description of your videos. Boom, you get great music. But if you want something that isn't like royalty-free and you have to pay for like some animation or some thumbnails, for instance, then I used to use Fiverr when I used to need to do stuff like that on my podcast when it was just me, because I'm good at a few things. Like, I think I'm okay at this, not too bad at playing the drums. I'm terrible at art. So if I haven't been able to like con one of my friends into that's really good at art into making a logo for me or things like that. Like when I used to do thumbnails, I used to sometimes, like for special shows, I'd go to Fiverr and I'd get someone to do it. If you need any sort of professional help, visit Fiverr. Our affiliate link is in the description. And if you sign up to it, we'll get a kickback from what you do. So everybody wins. We have a special show coming up on Monday, the 11th of September. We are doing a special 9/11 episode over on Rokfin. Looking forward to that. You know, it's a seminal moment, isn't it, in conspiracy theory? It's probably why a lot of us are here. So, you know, it's got to be like that Kennedy assassination for the generation before it. I mean, I know there's been weapons of mass destruction was obviously another big one, but obviously that came after September the 11th. I'd say what's just happened, as in the old sniffles, that when people look back on it, especially like people that might be too young to realize what went on, if there is such a thing of open and free discourse by then, I think that will be like their version of 9/11. You know, I think we had like a year-long 9/11. So I'm looking forward to talking about that. We've got I'm super excited about this. Got in touch with someone a couple of weeks ago. It took maybe just over a week to try and sort out. One of my favorite podcast hosts is coming to join us on the podcast on the 21st. It's Avery Warner, who is Chiller Queen from Chiller Queen podcast. If you haven't listened to her podcast yet, it's fantastic. She's fantastic. And I found her because she was on Isaac Weishaupt's Occult Symbolism in Pop Culture, which is also another great show and somebody I am going to start badgering to come on our show. And yeah, she was a guest on his show. So then I went back and had a listen to her like a Chrome episode she did as part of my research when we did our one, and she's got this really cool mixture of like she's cool. She's a cool person, and she's also got that like quite the sort of girly true crimes vibe about her, but she's also a like litigious researcher. So when she does a show on like conspiracies and stuff like that, she knows what she's talking about. She knows what she's doing. So can't wait. So that's going to be the Rokfin show on the 1st of September. She's coming on. We are going to talk about the current like disclosure and what she thinks the reasons for like disclosure, because I don't think we're being told like don't think we're being told what's what. I know she's got some stuff to talk about that. She's just come off like this crazy interview with the person that she's dying to speak to us about as well. It's just gonna be a good time. Like I think the more people, we are going to make a concerted effort on this channel to get more and more like fellow creators and fellow podcast hosts and other people that are sort of in the space, rather than the there's nothing wrong with the usual faces, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with it, but it would be nice if some new blood was injected into the live streams we start watching. So yeah, that's what we've got coming up on the show tonight. That's what we've got coming up over the next couple of weeks. Tonight we have a show about Icke's. Again, much like talking about 9/11, one of the guys that I think there's probably lots of people in the chat, whether you agree with him or not, because this is the thing, you don't have to believe him for him to be like interesting. But I think there's probably a lot of people that I found him around the same time as sort of 9/11, and it was very much, I was young in my sort of late teens, early 20s. I just got my first laptop. And I just got it, and then I had a laptop for a little bit, and then the first round of broadband was coming out. So I had like 1 meg broadband, whereas it's not great, but at the time it was enough to stream like 440p video or whatever it is, well, for 420p video, and off YouTube. So on Sundays I'd be out like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, feeling pretty rough on Sunday. It sounds like the worst Craig David song. And I would start looking at different conspiracy videos. I came across David Icke. I came across the first time I saw David Icke was on Wogan interview. It was the special he did where he was walking around London, and he started to explain all the stuff about secret societies, where the Masons came into various buildings. They started talking about bloodlines and how different royals were connected to different presidents and stuff like that through the bloodlines. And young Lee is sat there going, "Really, really? Tell me more, Mr. Icke." And it just snowballed out until right at the end of the video, he basically turned around and said, "Yeah, and so that's why they're reptilians." And I was like, "Hang on a second, fella. Let's dial this back a little bit, because I was with you up until the lizard people. And I'm not gonna lie, David, the lizard people took me off guard." And lo and behold, a few years later, I'm more on board with the lizard idea than I ever have been, ever. So it's this is the thing. Are we going to get to a point where it's is this the second stage of people being right? Like we went through the Alex Jones being right thing, and if you stick in a if you stick a pound in the Alex Jones was right jar from the word go up to now, you've done some good saving if you kept putting a pound every time Alex Jones was right. Because we're in for a wild ride if we start having to bring out the David Icke was right jar. And he's definitely got a few coins in it now. He was well on top of the digital currency, well on top of the passport, the digital passport, and why we would need a digital passport and the ways you would implement it. Obviously, we can talk better about this on Rokfin. He was well ahead of all that, and you've got to start thinking like. Are we just in this strange time? There's been thinkers all through the years, and I'm not trying to say that these guys are super geniuses, but maybe just throughout history, we've had these exceptional people that have come along that have kind of just, be it through complete accident or exposure to things at a different time. Like, for instance, I find I'm very difficult to my detriment, very difficult to be intimidated most of the time. And I find it very difficult to be by intimidated, I mean bullied into things. Like if someone forces me to do stuff, and that's because I was like horrendously bullied as a child, and I just ended up going, "This is fucking bullshit," and I'm not going to let people treat me like this anymore. So you end up with this like sixth sense that lets you see when people are trying to manipulate you or push you in a certain way. And I think it's you then just push back against that immediately. So that's not it's nothing special any that I've developed. It's just through a series of encounters and experiences through my life have led me to having this mindset. So is it where certain people, be it Alex Jones, be it David Icke, which we're doing the show on, or people like Graham Hancock, and I think Brett Weinstein you could argue is being pushed into that box now. He's like an academic that came up against a brick wall early on, well, quite a few years ago, not early on in his career, but not a while ago now, and I think that's changed his perception of what he deems to be something that could actually happen. So are we just seeing the modern version of of like the alternative thinkers? So we would the like the Aristotles and stuff of the world. Is this just what their representation is now? I don't know. It's all very strange anyway. It's strange how certain people rise to prominence. I don't believe everybody's part of the club. I don't think it works like that. I think some people just some people are just have a way of purveying information to people that captures them, and that because they think differently, you have to give them the time of day. I think it's strange as well. I'm interested to know what Dave's take of David Icke was, because being from the United of the Kingdoms, obviously, like I said, when I first found Icke's, I I I went and spoke to my dad about it, and then he said, no, he was a footballer, and then he was a lunatic 'cause he said he was Jesus on Wogan. And then you go and watch that, and you go, wow, that's a bit crazy, isn't it? Um, Sorry, I'm just trying to read some chat here. I've completely neglected the chat. Sorry. Super chat me, and I'll see it easier. Pay me. But yeah, it's he also interesting stuff. David Icke. I have like 1 degree separation from David Icke because I also, if anyone that likes Formula One, I should probably plug this more. I should probably plug like different things I do on the like cross pollinate things more. I'm on a Formula One podcast that should go out every week, but we're not the most regular of chaps. Called Three Legs Four Wheels, and there is a guy that's on that called Kieran, who comes from the Isle of Wight. He lives just down the road from David Icke, and his father fights over the best car parking space in Tesco's every week, every Sunday when they're trying to get groceries. And if he's late, David Icke's got his car parking space. What a weird world that would be in. Imagine a world where you're pissed off with David Icke because you've got to walk a little bit further with your eggs. But maybe I should go. Why haven't I gone? If I know where David Icke's going to be on a Sunday, I should really go to that supermarket, shouldn't I? Why haven't I thought of this before? There was a hot minute Gareth Icke was supposed to come on this podcast as well as son, but sorry, I've got to. We don't often get to talk about Formula One in this. F1. I'm Dutch. I didn't dig Toto Wolff's comment on the 10 wins. No, I didn't dig Toto's comments on the 10 wins either. I think Max totally deserves them. I kind of think it's right. I don't think Max has ever had a teammate which is as strong as an Alonso, a Button, or a Rosberg. But I also don't believe any of those people stopped Lewis Hamilton getting those 10 wins. So it's baby boy Lewis, isn't it? Baby boy Lewis starts to cry. Total Wolf's got to come with like nappies and tissues and stuff like that. Don't I'm like personally, I'm a Lando Norris fan. The interesting fact, I'm George Russell's cousin. So yeah, unfortunately, it's not like a particularly close family. We have met each other. I interviewed him back in 2019. But yeah, so I don't particularly like Lewis Hamilton. I stick up for George because like he's like kind of related. But I fucking love Lando Norris. He's I interviewed him as well. Super lovely guy. Like I asked this totally stupid question, and he 100% validated me when I was there and stopped me looking shit and was like a shithead in front of the world's press. Because basically, like I'm a part-time podcaster in amongst professional journalists, and he could have made me look stupid, and he kind of saved me, threw me a life raft. Valtteri Bottas, also really nice man. Toto Wolff, fucking huge man. I'm 6'2", and he towered over me. Anyway, less about that. But yeah, Lando's great. And he would be a good teammate for Max Rudolph. You are absolutely right. I hope you're still listening to our podcast come Christmas, Rudolph, because that's a name. That's a name for me in Christmas times. Ben. Bean. Lee, as we are on F1, which driver would you like to see on Rogan? Fernando Alonso. I think he's got more to say. I'm a big Fernando fan anyway. He was I was a Jenson Button guy too, and he was kind of like my big one. Like first time I ever did a Sports Cry, 2019 when he won the World Championship. But after Damon Hill retired, I had no one to support, and I was bored of Schumacher winning, and then Fernando came in and broke the Schumacher hold he had on Formula One, and that was great. So I will always, forever have a soft spot for Fernando Alonso for doing that. But yeah, I think he would be the most interesting. I'm going to throw the I'm going to throw the link up for the Rokfin show it up into yours description because I haven't done it yet. Ollie shouts at me. He's not very nice. He really isn't. You know, like he can be really quite hurtful. You know, he's like all the other producers. You know that whole Me Too movement thing. Like he gets into your skin. Like next thing is, you feel special. You end up sending him a few nude pictures, and then he's got you. And it's like he's basically the Weinstein of the YouTube world. So yeah, that's why I'm captive now. I can't go anywhere else because otherwise things get leaked. I don't want to be out there. So just so you guys know, he's all this like, oh, hello, what a wonderful evening, and it's a wonderful like alien evening. Everybody, yeah, not at all. Not at all. He's naked under there, if not has things inserted in him that move. It's not. It's not right. And I'm glad he's not here so I can speak freely without fear of my life. We are going to switch over to Rokfin very shortly. The link for the Rokfin is in the description. It's also in the chat here. There is 38 people in the chat right now. I expect to see 38 people over on Rokfin. You don't have to sign up. That's fine. If you don't want to sign up, and you really need to get rid of that comment. You don't need to sign up. You can just follow the link and watch if you want. Sign up if you want to comment. We do our best to read the comments as we go. It's obviously I try and read the comments on every show we do, but it's difficult when you just do it on your own. So that's why I haven't addressed too much of the comments there, unless it gave me an excuse to talk about Formula One for a couple of seconds. I'm really excited about talking about the Icke thing. I think we've got some. When you look back at the Rokfin exclusive shows, we've had the Alex Jones one not so long ago. We did the weather manipulation one. We did our psychedelics one, talking about mushrooms and stuff like that. I think we have been, like, without blowing myself too much, I think we've been hitting all cylinders when it comes to the Rokfin shows, and I think we've been delivering something that most of you, if you come over and watch, will like. I know some people don't want to go down the rabbit hole too deep, and that's fine. If you just, we're there for you when you're ready for it. I think it's important. I do. I think going past the surface level UFO stuff, I genuinely think it's important because we all want to know what's going on. We think we want to know what's going on. Maybe we don't. Maybe we're better off sitting talking in fantasy land because maybe the truth's too scary. And definitely some of the ideas that Icke has got, you would consider like pretty scary. My brother for another mother, Dave's not messaged us yet. Oh, Dave, literally just messaged me as I picked my phone up there saying, on my way. So he'll be over on Rokfin. Nick will be over on Rokfin. We've got to do a good job. Otherwise, Ollie will punish us. What you going to do? Moody Mongol, tell me they used God, genuinely, I thought you said black engineers. Don't tell me they used back engineered Roswell tech in F1 these days. I guess you never know. No, well, quite the opposite. It's nowhere near space. It's all ground effect now. You couldn't get any further away from space than ground effect. It's not zero gravity. It's all the gravity. But yeah, I genuinely read that as, don't tell me they used black engineered Roswell tech. Wow. Yeah, it just shows, doesn't it? Identity politics creeps into every aspect of your head, just waiting just waiting for you to slip up. But you can't cancel me because nobody cares enough. I think that's the secret is, and I care about me even less than you do. So I don't really care. We have 3 minutes, 24 seconds till the Rokfin show starts. Might as well stay here. Let's go through some of the comments quickly. Are we moving over? Yeah, we're going to move over in a minute. I'm only filling timing because I know Dave's waiting, and I'm trying to irritate you all into definitely coming over with us. There's the link again to it. Let me see what else we got. Got to take the pill. What? Got to take the pill off mouth to join Rokfin. I'm confused. I'm confused, man. Right. I'm going to go set the Rokfin show up. I want to see yous all over there. Links in the description, links in the chat. I can't do any more for you. I've literally led you to the water. I've put it in a glass for you. I put the glass in your hand. I've moved it to your lips, and I've just said, breathe. Just breathe the water. How ironic that's the next thing after I'm said I've led you to drink. Other than that, this weekend before we disappear, what have we got on Alien Addict for you on Friday and Sunday? Sunday's show isn't up yet, but I believe we have an idea for it, and I forgot what the idea was. On Friday, the Friday show is going to be Project Blue Book and Roswell documents to be made public. Obviously, there's been some big things come out about Roswell lately, so I'm convinced they're going to use Roswell in some way to push this current UFO narrative, because David Grush has already had that brought up to him in the Coulthard interview, and he said, I can't talk about that because it's still classified. So I think they're going to use Roswell. Other than that, guys, thank you for coming to keep me company for half an hour. I hope you come and keep me company for another hour and a half over on Rokfin. You are the best. I mean, kind of all we've got. But we'll, for the sake of the argument, we'll say you're the best because you're here. So we'll see you over on Rokfin. It's going to be fun. Lube yourselves up. I'm ready for it. I haven't got my outro sorted. Oh, it's so much easier when there's other people. It's so much easier. So much easier.